Hi everyone, this is Moonshine's Curiosity. I know you're going to wonder, why am I wearing the same thing when I wore this in the video from yesterday? Well, it came to me while I was, right after I finished recording the other one, that there is something I can go over that people might be interested in. There are some techniques I've been using that I can use to go out in public, because lately it's been super hard for me to go out in public and be okay, I guess, and to not feel upset or scared, or just to kind of freak out. I've been doing worse with that, so I've had to find ways to kind of get over that. And it's only just a few hours of time outside of the house, and it starts to get to me. So anyways, I went, what if I share some tips that I have that kind of help me out in a hard time? So my biggest thing that I do is I bring something comforting with me. So I guess in a way it's almost like de-stressing. Anyone could use this. It's like de-stressing, getting rid of the anxiety, kind of putting your mind somewhere else, focusing on something else. So I actually have a little stress cube. I know it's off-brand. The real one was really expensive and I couldn't afford it, but this one was like $3, I think. It has a little rolly ball. It has little clickers. It's kind of, I don't like the clickers, but it also has a light switch. It has a little swivel thing. It swivels. It has a little joystick. This one doesn't work very good. It has buttons. It doesn't work very good, I'm sure, compared to the one that's actually good, because it is off-brand. It's cheap knockoff. And, it's not super great. I do like the rolly ball a lot, so I'll usually do this if I'm super nervous. Car rides sometimes get to me, so this has been fantastic. This is always in my bag when I'm going out. Always. This is my number one thing. It's small, it's pretty quiet, because I don't like any of the clicky sounds. I'm sound sensitive. I don't like sounds really. Sounds really bother me. If I hear a lot of people talking, I have to go outside, which is another thing you can do. Go outside of the place. If you're at a supermarket, it gets too loud. Just, leave the cart, or, set it aside. Go outside if you can. Take a breather. If you're at a restaurant or something, go outside. Just kind of, don't leave, but if you're there by yourself, just let the waiter know. Just say, oh, I forgot my wallet in the car or something, so they don't think that you're just leaving and not paying, so they'll know you'll be right back. I don't know. I get nervous about that type of stuff, but just go out and just kind of breathe for a few minutes outside and then come back in. Another thing that you can bring with you are little squish. So these are little squishes. I have another one too that's smaller and it squishes better. Squish! And these are pretty great. They're not my favorite. They have all sorts. They have some that smell good, some that rise very quickly, some that are very slow. This one's super slow when you do it, as you can see. Super slow. But those are great to have. If you have a little backpack or a little bag, I mean, that's perfect to just carry something with you. Another thing that I always carry, well, I know it's going to sound stupid, so I always have the clicker on me. If I know it's going to be a bad day, because I can usually sense when I'm going to have a bad time out, is I'll bring a small stuffed animal. And this one fits in my little backpack. And he's super soft. He's a little plushy Pikachu. And I don't bring him out, but sometimes in my bag, I'll open my backpack a little because I have a small backpack, and I'll just kind of pet him a little. And because he's soft, it just makes me feel better because he's soft. So it's a sensation thing. I also have other small animals, got a little yak and a little alpaca. Yeah, I think it's an alpaca. So things like that. If I feel like I'm going to be embarrassed because someone's going to like go through my bag, like at an airport or something, or, bag check or something, I have like a comfort item that I'll bring with me. And one of my comfort items is, for me, these fingerless gloves. Now they're made out of like alpaca fur, and to me they just, I have to have them close to me at night. I don't even have to wear them. They could be under my pillow, but if I don't have them near me at night, I kind of go nuts and I have to look all over the house. I look everywhere for them. Like I go nuts. So these are kind of like a comfort item for me. So like having this in my bag just kind of calms me down, even if I'm not going to wear them. If it's summertime and I'm not going to wear them, it's still a comfort item to have on me, as weird as that sounds. So that's another thing you can do, is have like an item that's kind of comforting, even if it's a clothing item, a beanie, I don't know, something that's, no one would think anything about. Maybe they think you're going to get cold or something. Oh, you have fingerless gloves. No one's going to think anything. But for me, it's a comfort item. It's just like, it's soft. I can like, it's a comfort item. If I have it with me, I feel a little bit better. Trying to think what else. Oh, yeah. Another thing is like there's these, and they're kind of like gummy feeling, and they're squishy. Now, these things you can clean under water and soap, so they do get dirty if you play with them enough, but like they're super like squishy, and they're only like $1 each normally. They're really inexpensive, and they're nice, and they stick too sometimes. Like they're kind of, they're kind of sticky. Yeah. But they're kind of like nice to just squish. And I usually like don't like to put it like in my bag by itself. Usually I'll have it in like a Ziploc, because it is kind of squishy and it gets dirty easily and you have to wash it. So, I mean, that's kind of an inconvenience thing to have, but it is squishy, it is nice. So usually like I'll stick it on my phone, or I'll stick it on my iPad and it just sticks on. So I kind of have that. I also sometimes carry my doll on me. She fits in my backpack too, which this is one of my dolls. So I'll carry her in my bag as well. If I feel like it. Sometimes it just depends on like how bad I'm feeling. If I'm feeling fine, I'll just have the cube in there, and that might be all I need, is the cube and like my gloves. If it's like a really bad day, I'm gonna have the stuffed animal, I'm gonna have the cube, I'm gonna have my gloves, and I might even have like one of these squishies in there, because like I need to have lots of comfort items with me just in case I start feeling like I'm gonna like get really upset. So you just kind of have to gauge how you're gonna feel when you go out in public. It right before. Now, if you don't have to go out in public, then, and you feel like it's going to be a bad day, then maybe you shouldn't go out. But if it's something where you have to go out, a doctor's appointment, a family. Hey, I got a little hedgehog I'm on bed, and a little hedgehog's by my feet. She's nibbling my leggings. But if you have to go out, like a family thing goes on and they want you to come out, or a special event and you kind of need to go out and you feel like it's not gonna go well, these are some tips and bits that have helped me cope. Sometimes I'll bring like a notebook even and just write in it, even if it's nonsense. Just write a bunch of words that show how you feel. Like, you could just write words to describe how you feel, even if they don't make sense or coherently go together. It's what you feel at that moment. Or draw a picture. You may want to bring something, even like if you're crafty and you know how to knit or crochet, bring a little bit of yarn and like a crochet hook or like knitting needles, And you can do that as well if it's an appropriate place to do it. Of course, if it's like on an airplane, make sure to read what is allowed in airplanes, because airplanes are so picky with what you're allowed to bring. I know you can bring knitting needles and crochet hooks, but I can't remember if they have to be a certain material or not. So make sure to read that if you're doing an airplane thing. I know for me, when I've gone on airplanes, I hate airplanes. They don't agree with me. It's very scary for me. And I, um, I just don't like them. So, airplanes, that's for me. I'm always super anxious and stuff. I always have a bunch of comfort items on me on my carry on. I'm sure I look nuts, but I just kind of, I might come up with excuses like, oh, I'm visiting my niece and nephew and I want to give them some gifts when I get there. So, like, when you have a stuffed animal or something, you don't look stupid. And if they ask about like the cube or something, just be like, I get nervous on flights. They're probably not even gonna ask. My boyfriend always tells me they're never gonna ask you. They don't care as long as it's not a threat. But in my mind, I'm always like, oh, I am a 27-year-old woman. I'm almost 30. They're gonna go, why are you bringing this crap? If someone goes through my bag, they're gonna be like, why do you have this crap with you? That's just how my mind works. Because when I was a kid, I thought adults didn't do that. But when I need comfort items because I feel like I'm not going to be okay, these are some things that help me cope so I don't like cry or have a meltdown or just lose it completely and cause a scene, because that's my ultimate goal, is not to cause a scene. I don't want to cause a scene. I don't want people to be like, what's wrong with her? Why is she doing that? Or have to go to the hospital because I had a moment, because it was just a stimulation overload. So these are just some tips for you. I think they're good for anyone who has anxiety, or who needs stimulation while they're busy. Maybe even ADHD, if you need to keep your fingers busy, or your hands busy while you're doing something. I think it's good for anyone, really.